For thousands, or perhaps millions of years, the story of human history has remained buried beneath layers of mystery. Archaeologists have found colossal pyramids, lost tech, and human remains hidden deep beneath the earth for centuries. But sometimes, they came across things that should not exist. From Buddha sculptures made with precision that looks impossible for its time to structures that defy logic, these archaeological discoveries still refuse to make sense. Number 15. The fasting Buddha sculptures of Gandhara. Ancient India has always carried an atmosphere that feels older than history itself. A place filled with temples, forgotten knowledge, and carvings so precise they almost feel impossible for their time. But among all those ancient creations, a group of statues from nearly 1800 years ago left researchers totally unsettled. These were the famous fasting Buddha sculptures from the Gandhara region, and the level of anatomical detail carved into them looked just modern. Veins stretched across the forehead, ribs pressed sharply beneath thinning skin, muscles wrapped naturally around the arms, and even the structures of the neck appeared almost medically accurate. Researchers studying the statues noticed details that should have required knowledge far beyond what ancient artists were supposed to understand. The hollow around the throat, the positioning of tendons, even the collapse of skin caused by starvation were captured with unbelievable precision. Siddhartha Gautama's suffering during his long fast beneath the Bodhi tree had been frozen into stone so perfectly that some historians wondered whether these sculptors understood anatomy better than many people expected from the ancient world. Number 14. The Inca mask found off Florida. Iridium is one of those metals people instantly connect with lost tech the moment it appears inside an archaeological story. That is exactly why a strange funerary mask found near Florida's coast exploded into controversy almost overnight. The artifact was linked to treasure hunters searching for Spanish ships destroyed during the massive hurricane of 1715, when entire fleets carrying stolen gold and artifacts from the Americas vanished beneath violent waves. What made the mask unusual was not only its appearance, but the claims surrounding the material itself. Researchers connected to the recovery team argued the object contained traces of iridium mixed within copper, gold, and silver alloys, leading to wild theories about ancient metallurgy far beyond its time. Some reports even exaggerated the story so badly that people began claiming the object was 12,000 years old, despite the Inca civilization itself emerging only around the 12th century AD. Later studies pushed back against the sensationalism, explaining that iridium can naturally appear inside alluvial gold deposits. But still, it became trapped between archaeology, treasure hunting, colonial theft, and modern myth almost immediately. Number 13. Arata, the Sumerian Atlantis. Ancient Sumerian texts speak about a mysterious land called Arata, a place surrounded by mountains and overflowing with wealth, metalwork, and sacred knowledge. Unlike ordinary kingdoms mentioned in historical records, Arata feels almost suspended between myth and reality. Historians still cannot agree whether it truly existed or survived only through legend. The texts describe a distant territory located east of Elam, where people worshipped gods similar to those of Sumer and possibly even spoke a related language. Skilled craftsmen worked with metals there, and valuable resources flowed from its mountains toward Mesopotamian civilizations. Well, that alone already sounds unusual. But unfortunately, no confirmed ruins belonging to Arata have ever been identified. But the stories surrounding it refuse to disappear. Some researchers suspect connections with ancient cultures in Iran or Central Asia, but there are some who compare it to lost Atlantis, erased by the gods. What keeps the mystery alive is how confidently the Sumerians wrote about the place. They did not describe Arata as a fantasy, they spoke about it almost like a memory. And memory usually begins somewhere real. Number 12. The ancient tombs of Bugon. Long before pharaohs ruled Egypt or empires carved their names into history, people in western France were already building stone monuments that still leave modern engineers impressed. The tumulus of Bugon dates back nearly 7,000 years and stands among the oldest megalithic burial complexes ever discovered in Europe. What makes the site especially strange is how each tomb follows a completely different design, almost as though the builders kept experimenting across centuries. Some structures contain circular chambers, while others stretch into stepped formations and rectangular interiors. Tumulus A alone held more than 200 burials beneath a capstone weighing nearly 90 tons. Imagining ancient communities moving stones of that size without modern machinery feels almost impossible even today. Over centuries, erosion slowly merged the separate mounds into one enormous formation spread across the landscape. The people responsible left behind no written records, no known language, and no explanation for what the site truly represented. But every stone still carries the feeling that these builders understood architecture on a level history rarely gives them credit for. Number 11. The upside-down staircase of Cusco. Cusco already carries enough mysteries to keep archaeologists arguing for generations, but hidden near the Sacsayhuam complex sits one structure that refuses to fit comfortably into ordinary Incan design. Carved directly into solid granite is a staircase that appears almost inverted, as though somebody flipped the entire structure upside down and left it frozen inside the mountain. The strangest part is that it does not lead anywhere. And that alone raises uncomfortable questions, because shaping granite is brutally difficult even with modern equipment. The Inca managed their stonework without advanced metal tools, yet somebody still spent enormous effort cutting this strange formation into one of the hardest stones on Earth. Some historians suggest the staircase was abandoned before completion, though the precision makes that explanation feel incomplete. Others believe it may have held ceremonial or spiritual significance, now completely lost to history. Whatever its purpose once was, the staircase still feels less like construction and more like a puzzle left unfinished inside the stone itself. Number 10. The ancient Indian mermaid. Very few people outside India have even heard the name Chandraketugarh. Yet this forgotten archaeological site keeps producing some of the strangest ancient artwork ever found in South Asia. Long before modern Kolkata existed, this region functioned as a wealthy trading city connected to distant civilizations through rivers and sea routes. Merchants, travelers, craftsmen, and pilgrims once moved through these streets constantly. Today, little remains except scattered ruins and broken terracotta fragments. Among those fragments were several carvings that left historians completely puzzled. Two ancient terracotta plaques appear to show mermaids interacting with ordinary people. One scene shows the creature near water while humans stand around watching her, almost like witnesses to something extraordinary. Another image shows fishermen pulling a mermaid inside a net while nearby figures wave toward her without fear. What makes these carvings otherworldly is how naturally the scenes were presented. Nothing about them feels symbolic or mythical in the usual sense. The people appear calm, familiar, almost accustomed to what they are seeing. That detail alone keeps the mystery alive. Number 9. The hidden cathedral of Nubia. Sudan is not usually the first place people imagine when talking about the ancient Christian world, which is exactly why the discovery beneath Old Dongola shocked archaeologists so much. Buried under layers of sand was a structure so enormous that calling it a simple church almost feels wrong. The surviving walls still carried painted images of the 12 apostles across the apses, visible enough for researchers to distinguish individual faces and details despite centuries underground. Old Dongola once served as the capital of the Kingdom of Makuria, one of the strongest Christian kingdoms in medieval Africa between the 6th and 14th centuries. Nearby, archaeologists also uncovered a sealed domed tomb believed to belong to a powerful archbishop connected to Nubia's religious elite. Whatever remains inside has not yet been fully explored. What makes the discovery feel even larger is the scale of the city itself. Historians believe Old Dongola once rivaled medieval Paris in size. Hidden beneath Sudan's desert was not a forgotten chapel. It was an entire Christian world almost erased from memory. Number 8. The Jehoash inscription. Few archaeological discoveries have divided experts as badly as the Jehoash inscription. Supposedly carved sometime during the 9th century BC, the stone describes restoration work carried out on the first temple in Jerusalem under King Jehoash, son of Ahaziah. What immediately shocked historians was how closely the wording matched passages from 2 Kings 12 in the Bible. For a moment, it looked like physical proof connected directly to one of ancient Jerusalem's most important religious sites. Then, the controversy exploded. The tablet passed through the hands of Oded Golan, a collector already linked to forged antiquities, which instantly cast suspicion over the entire discovery. Israel's Antiquities Authority declared the inscription a fake, yet scientific testing complicated everything. Studies on the stone's patina suggested genuine age, while other analyses hinted at possible tampering. Linguists examined the grammar, spelling, and carving style for years without reaching agreement. Supporters insist no modern forger could reproduce that level of historical detail so accurately. What do you think? Number 7. The stone symbols of Sahasra Linga. When the waters around Karnataka's Sahasra Linga receded, they exposed something that looked less like an ordinary archaeological site and more like fragments of a forgotten language carved directly into stone. Thousands of engravings emerged across the rocky landscape after the reservoir drained, revealing symbols and formations whose original purpose had already disappeared long ago. Some carvings clearly resemble lingams associated with Shiva worship, but others drift far outside familiar religious imagery. Circular forms, strange symmetry, and geometric patterns sparked comparisons to science fiction almost immediately, especially among people who felt the site looked more mechanical than spiritual. Historians still cannot fully agree on who carved the symbols or when the work was completed. Water erosion erased inscriptions and destroyed much of the surrounding context, leaving only the carvings themselves behind. Some researchers believe advanced stone cutting techniques were used, methods difficult to connect with the period usually associated with the site. Pilgrims still visit Sahasra Linga carrying offerings and prayers, yet the atmosphere surrounding the carvings never feels fully welcoming. The stones remain silent, keeping whatever story once existed entirely to themselves. Number 6. Ancient funeral wagon. Deep beneath the soil near Lake Seven, experts found something that looked simply impossible for its age. Resting underground for nearly 4,000 years was a wooden wagon so well preserved that parts of it still looked capable of movement. The wheels remained intact. The wooden frame survived. Even the construction details revealed surprising engineering skill for such an ancient society. Researchers believe the wagon belonged to the Lhassan Metsamor culture, a Bronze Age civilization connected with early Indo-European peoples. Built from oak, the vehicle is now considered one of the oldest known wagons ever discovered. Looking at it closely feels strange because it does not resemble a crude experiment from primitive people. It feels practical. Armenia itself continues to produce finds that leave historians uncomfortable. The oldest winery, ancient leather shoes, preserved skirts, and some of the earliest evidence of complex human settlement have all appeared there. Because of this, some researchers wonder whether this mountainous region played a far greater role in early civilization than history books usually admit. Number 5. Sumerians and Ancient Bolivia Trip Mystery. The ancient world was never supposed to be connected the way modern civilizations are today, which is exactly why the Fuente Magna Bowl continues to confuse researchers decades after its discovery. Found near Bolivia's Lake Titicaca in 1958, the stone vessel appears ordinary at first glance, decorated with carvings similar to other ancient South American artifacts. But wrapped around the bowl are symbols that many researchers believe resemble Proto-Sumerian writing from Mesopotamia, a civilization separated from Bolivia by entire oceans and thousands of miles of land. Alongside those markings sits another script connected to ancient Andean cultures, creating a combination that simply should not exist together. The discovery sparked theories that range from ancient trade routes to shipwrecked Sumerian sailors somehow reaching South America long before recorded history suggests such journeys were possible. Some researchers remain skeptical and argue the inscriptions may have been misunderstood entirely, while others believe the bowl hints at forgotten contact between civilizations separated by half the planet. Whatever the truth may be, the artifact remains one of archaeology's most controversial mysteries because the object itself is real, and that alone makes the story difficult to dismiss. Number 4. Codex Seraphinianus. Some books feel strange. This one feels almost alive in the worst possible way. Created by Italian artist Luigi Serafini, the massive illustrated encyclopedia drags readers into a world that operates without recognizable logic, structure, or explanation. Every page feels like stepping deeper into somebody else's hallucination. Plants twist into impossible shapes. Human bodies merge with machines and animals. Creatures appear familiar for a split second before turning into something deeply wrong. Even the writing itself creates discomfort. The text looks readable, almost understandable, yet every symbol belongs to a language that does not actually exist. Readers instinctively search for patterns anyway, trying to force meaning from pages that refuse to cooperate. That reaction was intentional. Serafini explained that he wanted adults to experience the same confusion children feel while staring at books before learning how to read. The result became one of the strangest works of modern art ever published. Decades later, people still try decoding hidden messages inside it despite knowing the script was never meant to be solved. Number 3. The Stone Gate of Tonga. Far out in the South Pacific, where the islands of Tonga sit surrounded by endless ocean, a massive stone structure rises from the landscape with a presence that feels older than memory itself. Known as the Ha'amonga Amaui, the monument consists of enormous coral limestone blocks fitted together like a giant doorway standing alone beneath the tropical sky. Each stone weighs close to 40 tons, which immediately raises the same question people have asked for generations. How did ancient islanders move something this enormous across isolated islands without modern machinery? Local legends claim the structure was built by the demigod Maui himself, while historians believe it may have served as the ceremonial entrance to a royal compound nearly 800 years ago. Others notice strange astronomical alignments connected to the movement of the sun during solstices and equinoxes, suggesting the monument may have functioned as a giant calendar as well. Whatever its original purpose truly was, the gateway still stands today, carrying the same quiet mystery it has held for centuries. Number 2. The Hand of Hercules. High above the city of Amman, enormous stone fingers rise from the ruins of an unfinished Roman temple like pieces of a giant buried beneath the hill. Only 3 fingers remain today, yet their size alone feels unnatural. Archaeologists believe they once belonged to a colossal statue of Hercules built during the reign of Marcus Aurelius nearly 2,000 years ago. If the entire figure was ever completed, it would have towered more than 40 feet above the temple grounds, making it one of the largest marble statues attempted in the Roman world. Even now, the surviving fragments still carry carved fingernails and delicate details impossible to ignore. The strangest part is that nobody knows whether the statue ever truly stood complete. Construction on the temple appears to have stopped suddenly, leaving behind foundations so enormous they dwarfed many structures in Rome itself. Something interrupted the project before history could finish recording the answer. Time, earthquakes, money, politics, or disaster may have frozen the temple mid-creation forever. That uncertainty gives the ruins their eerie atmosphere today, as though the mountain still hides the missing body of a forgotten god. Number 1. The ancient tracks beneath Malta. The islands of Malta may look peaceful today, surrounded by blue Mediterranean water and warm stone villages, yet carved across parts of the landscape lies one of Europe's strangest prehistoric mysteries. Deep grooves cut into solid limestone crisscross the islands like the remains of some forgotten transportation system. Known as cart ruts, these parallel tracks stretch across hillsides, split apart like railway junctions, and sometimes vanish straight into the sea itself. Some grooves sink nearly 2 feet into the rock, far too deliberate to dismiss as natural erosion. Archaeologists have debated their origin for decades. One theory suggests ancient civilizations used heavy carts to transport massive stones for Malta's megalithic temples, structures already older than the pyramids of Egypt. Others believe the tracks may date to a period when sea levels were lower and parts of the island looked completely different. The mystery deepens because many of the ruts lead nowhere at all. Well, that's all from us. If you've enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Take care, and we'll see you very soon.